Respect is not earned by wealth, looks, or status. It's destroyed the moment you fail to control this one thing. History shows countless people with talent, charm, or power who ended up losing the admiration of those around them. Why do some people, no matter how skilled or gifted, quickly lose the respect they once held? The answer lies in a hidden key: self-control. Not the kind that impresses for a moment, but the discipline to govern your emotions, your tongue, and your desires. Islamic wisdom reveals overlooked truths. Respect is tied not to power, but to restraint. 1. The illusion of strength versus the reality of control. When most people think of strength, they imagine someone who dominates a room with their presence, someone whose voice is loud, whose body language is aggressive, and whose words overpower others. In the modern world, strength is often equated with being fearless, confrontational, and unshakable in arguments. But in reality, this type of strength is shallow. It may intimidate for a moment, but it rarely builds lasting respect. Respect does not come from the ability to defeat others. It comes from the ability to master yourself. Islam presents a definition of strength that challenges common assumptions. The Prophet once saw a companion who was skilled in wrestling. People admired his ability to overpower others, seeing him as a symbol of strength. But the Prophet corrected their understanding, saying that the truly strong person is not the one who can defeat others in wrestling. The truly strong person is the one who controls himself when he is angry. This statement flipped the entire idea of power upside down. For centuries, people thought strength meant conquering others. But in truth, the highest form of power is conquering yourself. Think about it. The person who cannot control anger is not strong but fragile. One insult, one disagreement, one setback, and they explode, revealing that their emotions control them more than they control their emotions. In that moment, they are not a master. They are a slave. They are chained to their impulses, dragged by emotions they cannot restrain. And people do not respect slaves to anger, pride, or desires. People respect those who are free, those who are in command of themselves. This is why the quiet, disciplined person often holds more respect than the loud, aggressive one. The aggressive person may win a fight, but the disciplined one wins hearts. The aggressive person may control others for a short time, but the disciplined one gains long-term honor. True respect is not built on fear or intimidation. It is built on the recognition that this person has a strength deeper than muscles, louder than words, and greater than dominance. It is the strength of self-control, the ability to remain calm when others lose control, and the courage to restrain the self when it wants to lash out. 2. The tongue, the small weapon that destroys honor. If there is one thing that destroys respect faster than anything else, it is the tongue. A single insult, a careless joke, a sarcastic comment, or a lie can undo years of good character in the eyes of people. You may help someone countless times, but if you humiliate them once with your words, they will never forget it. Mistakes can often be forgiven, but words that cut deep tend to leave scars that never fully heal. The Qur'an gives a vivid reminder about one of the greatest dangers of the tongue: backbiting. The Creator describes it as if you were eating the flesh of your own brother. This image is meant to shock us into realizing how ugly and degrading gossip is. Yet, it has become so normalized that people often don't notice when they are tearing down someone's honor with their words. What they don't realize is that every word spoken becomes part of their record, and every word spreads beyond their control. One of the hidden dangers of speech is that once you release it, you cannot take it back. Actions are visible and limited to a place, but words can travel across time and space. A reckless statement today can resurface years later, damaging your reputation when you least expect it. This is especially true in our digital age, where a single post or voice note can spread across the world in seconds. Words live longer than actions, and because of that, they can damage respect in ways people often underestimate. On the other hand, controlling your speech creates an aura of wisdom. People tend to respect those who speak less, but say meaningful things. Silence is often mistaken for intelligence, and restraint in speech makes people wonder about your depth. When you do speak, your words carry more weight because people know you don't waste them carelessly. Compare this with someone who speaks endlessly, always giving opinions, always making jokes at the expense of others. Such a person may appear entertaining for a moment, but over time, their lack of control strips them of dignity. The tongue is small, but it can destroy entire friendships, families, and communities. Controlling it is one of the most powerful shields of respect. 3. Desire, the hidden enemy of respect. One of the quickest ways a person loses respect is when they become a slave to their desires. Respect crumbles the moment people realize that greed, lust, or addiction has control over someone. A person may be talented, intelligent, or even admired for their skills, but if others see that they are ruled by their lower self, admiration turns into disappointment. People instinctively lose respect for those who cannot govern themselves because it shows weakness at the core of their character. History is full of examples of leaders who were admired for their abilities, yet fell from honor because they could not control their desires. Some lost their power through corruption, some through scandals, and others through addictions. Their downfall was not a lack of intelligence or ability, but a lack of self-control. Respect is fragile, and once broken by reckless indulgence, it is rarely restored. The Prophet gave a profound wisdom that speaks directly to this. The truly rich person is not the one with endless possessions, but the one who restrains their greed. This shifts the entire meaning of wealth. A person may have little but still command respect because they are content, dignified, and not begging from their desires. On the other hand, someone may own much but still be seen as poor if their greed has no limits. Respect follows the one who owns his desires, not the one owned by them. There is also a lesser-known reality about fulfilling every desire. It does not increase pleasure, it reduces it. When you constantly give in to your cravings, the thrill fades. What once excited you becomes ordinary, and you are left empty, always chasing something new. This endless pursuit leaves people hollow and desperate. Restraint, however, creates dignity. Saying no to yourself, even when no one is watching, builds an inner strength that people can sense. It gives you an air of discipline and control that naturally earns respect. In truth, desire is like fire, useful when controlled, but destructive when left unchecked. People do not respect someone who is consumed by it. They respect the one who holds it firmly in their grasp, using it wisely while never allowing it to burn their dignity. 4. Anger, respect's greatest destroyer. Anger is one of the most powerful forces that can strip a person of respect in an instant. Many think of anger only in terms of physical fights, shouting matches, or explosive arguments. But anger shows itself in many subtle ways. Impatience with family, snapping at a spouse or child, road rage on the street, or harsh insults typed out in an online comment. These moments may seem small, but each one chips away at the image of self-control, and with it, respect. The truth is, anger reveals a lack of inner discipline. People may fear an angry person because they don't want to provoke them, but fear is not respect. In fact, repeated anger causes people to distance themselves emotionally, building silent walls of mistrust. A person may win arguments through anger, but they lose hearts. There is a well-known story of a man who came to the Prophet seeking advice. He asked for guidance, and the Prophet told him, "Do not get angry." The man repeated his request, hoping for more words of wisdom, but the Prophet kept saying the same thing, "Do not get angry." This repetition was not without reason. It was a reminder that uncontrolled anger is the root of countless mistakes. Controlling it is one of the greatest forms of wisdom. One of the unique perspectives on anger is that it becomes an inheritance of regret. People often lose their jobs, marriages, friendships, or reputations because of a single outburst. Words said in rage can't be taken back. Actions done in fury leave scars, and the regret that follows can last a lifetime. Islam also provides practical strategies for dealing with anger. The Prophet advised pausing and remaining silent when anger rises. He recommended changing your posture. If standing, then sit. If sitting, then lie down. He also advised making ablution because water cools not only the body but also the fire within. These small acts help break the intensity of anger before it takes control. Respect does not come from intimidating others with temper. It comes from staying calm when provoked composed when insulted, and gentle when others expect fury. True respect belongs to the one who conquers anger, not the one conquered by it. 5. The secret link between respect and privacy. One of the lesser-known truths about respect is that it is closely tied to privacy. Respecting yourself begins with guarding your private life. The more of your inner world you expose to others, the more vulnerable you become to judgment, gossip, and loss of dignity. Oversharing your struggles, displaying weaknesses without purpose, or even worse, exposing sins, all erode the respect people have for you. The Prophet warned clearly about this. He taught that all of his followers may be forgiven by Allah, except those who openly boast about their sins. Why? Because by making private sins public, a person strips themselves of shame and dignity, two qualities that protect respect. Keeping matters private preserves honor, while exposing them invites disrespect. In our time, this teaching has become even more urgent. Social media encourages oversharing in a way no previous generation experienced. People post their emotions, their arguments, their desires, and even their anger for the world to see. What they don't realize is that every post leaves an impression. The more personal chaos you display publicly, the less credibility you carry. Employers, family, and friends may silently lose respect when they see a lack of self-control online. Guarding privacy creates a sense of mystery, and mystery naturally generates respect. People tend to admire those who carry themselves with dignity, who don't expose every detail of their lives for public consumption. When you control what you reveal, you also control how people perceive you. Respect isn't only about how you act in public, it is also about what you choose to keep hidden. The more carefully you guard your private life, the more lasting honor you preserve. 6. Patience, the silent builder of respect. Patience is often misunderstood as weakness. Many think it means staying silent because you have no choice, or enduring because you are too powerless to resist. In reality, patience is one of the greatest forms of strength. It is not about being passive, it is about controlling the natural rush to react. When people see someone remain calm in the face of hardship, they do not think of them as weak. They admire them for their ability to carry themselves with dignity. Respect grows when others realize you are not ruled by the chaos around you. The Qur'an makes a powerful connection between patience and leadership. It says, "We made them leaders because they were patient." This statement reveals that greatness does not come from status, wealth, or bloodline. True leadership is built on the ability to endure trials without breaking. When you rush into anger, despair, or reckless decisions, people lose confidence in you. But when you endure storms with steady faith, people naturally turn to you for guidance. One unique insight about patience is that it is not passive, it is resistance. Patience is the refusal to let pain, loss, or injustice define your reaction. It is the inner discipline to hold steady when your heart wants to collapse. In this way, patience is not weakness, it is rebellion against despair, and this rebellion earns deep respect, even from those who may not share your beliefs. The companions of the Prophet embodied this truth. Many were tortured, starved, and mocked for their faith. Yet, instead of breaking, they bore their suffering with dignity. Their enemies expected them to collapse, but their patience only increased their honor. Even those who opposed them could not help but respect the strength they carried in silence. In daily life, patience works the same way. People respect the parent who calmly guides their child instead of shouting. They respect the worker who endures unfair treatment without losing professionalism. They respect the friend who stays loyal through difficulties. Patience shines as quiet strength, often louder than words or actions. Respect belongs not to the one who reacts instantly, but to the one who endures with dignity. 7. The ego trap. Respect, lost by pride. Arrogance often disguises itself as strength. A proud person may appear powerful for a moment, commanding attention through confidence and dominance. Yet beneath the surface, arrogance breeds silent hatred. People may smile in front of the arrogant, but in their hearts, they resist and resent them. Pride may create fear, but it never creates love, and respect without love is always temporary. True respect comes from controlling the ego, This means being willing to accept mistakes, to apologize when wrong, and to recognize that no one is above others. Humility is not humiliation, it is strength wrapped in gentleness. People are drawn to those who are humble because humility signals sincerity. Pride, on the other hand, signals insecurity masked by arrogance. The Prophet himself set the perfect example. Though he was the leader of a community, he sat with the poor, ate with them, and never demanded special treatment. At home, he served his family with his own hands, repairing, cleaning, and helping with chores. His humility did not lower his status, it raised it beyond measure. The more he humbled himself before others, the more deeply people respected and loved him. The insight here is clear. Arrogance can build fear, but it cannot build hearts. Humility builds lasting bonds of respect because it shows discipline over the self. The ego constantly whispers for recognition, superiority, and applause. But when you quiet that voice, you rise in the sight of people and in the sight of Allah. Lasting respect is never earned by showing yourself above others. It is earned when you lower yourself with dignity, treating people as equals, no matter their status. 8. Self-control in leadership and family. Leadership is often misunderstood as the ability to control others, to set rules, and to enforce obedience. But in reality, leadership begins with mastery of oneself. The person who cannot control their emotions, tongue, or desires cannot hope to guide others with wisdom. Respect in leadership is never built on force. It is built on the example of self-discipline. This truth is most visible within families. Parents often think their children lose respect because of strict rules. In reality, children lose respect when they see hypocrisy. A parent who demands good behavior but loses their own temper, lies, or fails to control themselves gradually loses authority in their child's eyes. Rules without example create rebellion, not respect. The same principle applies on larger scales. Leaders of communities or nations may have wealth, armies, or influence, but when their desires control them, they lose credibility. History remembers many rulers who fell not because of external enemies, but because their greed, pride, or lack of self-control destroyed the trust of their people. The Prophet demonstrated true leadership by example. He was calm, composed, and never exploded in personal anger. The only time his anger showed was when the limits of the Creator were broken, never for his own ego. This calm mastery of self made people trust him deeply, even those who once opposed him. The lesson is simple. Respect does not begin in positions of power. It begins at home, in how you control yourself with your spouse, children, and family. If you cannot show restraint in the small circle of family life, you will not be respected in the larger circle of society. Self-control is the foundation of all true leadership. 9. The invisible respect of the Creator. There is a hidden dimension of respect that many overlook. The connection between how the Creator views you and how people view you. True respect among people is not earned solely through appearance, talent, or authority. It is granted by the Creator to those who discipline their souls for His sake. When a person controls their anger, guards their tongue, restrains their desires, and humbles themselves, not to impress others, but out of obedience to Allah, the Creator places a special light in their character. This light is what causes people's hearts to lean toward them, even if those people do not fully agree with or even like them. Respect, in this sense, is not taken by force, it is gifted by the unseen. History offers countless examples of this truth. There are men and women whose humility, prayer, and quiet discipline earned them admiration from friend and foe alike. A person who lives with sincerity is respected even in the eyes of those who oppose their faith, because discipline and integrity are qualities that the human heart naturally honors. The Prophet explained that when the Creator loves someone, He calls the angels and declares His love for that person. The angels then spread that love across the heavens, and respect for that individual is placed in the hearts of people on earth. This is a profound reminder that the root of all respect lies in the unseen, not in human effort alone. Respect cannot be demanded, forced, or manipulated. The proud may try to take it, but it slips through their hands. The humble who discipline their souls for Allah find it given to them without asking. True respect is an invisible gift from the Creator to those who honor Him first. 10. Practical steps to build self-control. Self-control is not built overnight. It requires small, consistent actions that gradually reshape the way you respond to life. If respect is tied to restraint, then learning practical steps to strengthen discipline becomes essential. The first step is as simple as breathing before reacting. A deep breath creates just enough space between emotion and action to stop regret from taking over. Anger often lives in that tiny gap. Breathing widens it. The second step is to pause before speaking. Words spill out faster than we can take them back, but a moment of silence can save years of damaged respect. Ask yourself, does this need to be said, and is this the right time to say it? Often, silence preserves more dignity than speech. Another step is guarding what you watch, listen to, and consume. What enters the mind shapes the heart, and what fills the heart controls behavior. Respect begins internally, and if the soul is filled with chaos, discipline fades. Choosing what you allow in is an act of self-respect that naturally reflects outward. Journaling emotions is another powerful tool. By writing down what triggers anger, pride, or temptation, you begin to see patterns. Awareness is the first step toward control. The person who knows their weaknesses is stronger than the one who denies them. Fasting is a spiritual practice that strengthens restraint. It is not only about abstaining from food, but also from reckless speech, uncontrolled anger, and indulgence. By fasting regularly, you teach your body and mind that they do not control you. You control them. Routine prayers are also a foundation of discipline. Every prayer interrupts the flow of daily life, reminding you to pause, reset, and submit. The structure of worship strengthens the structure of self-control. Finally, connect your restraint to the Creator's command. Self-control becomes easier when you remember that you answer not to people, but to Allah. You control yourself because He sees you, even when no one else does. Respect in this world is fragile, but when discipline is built for the sake of the Creator, it becomes firm. Every step of self-control is not only a shield of dignity, but also a path to honor both with people and with Him. Respect is not about how loud you speak, how much wealth you hold, or how powerful you appear. True respect is built on what you control: your tongue, your anger, your desires, your ego, and even your privacy. The Creator honors those who restrain themselves, and when He honors you, people naturally admire you too. So here is the challenge. Before seeking respect from the world, pause and ask yourself, what have I controlled today? Reflect on your own journey of self-discipline and share your experiences in the comments to inspire others walking the same path.